Hello, good morning, welcome back. This Manuel welcoming you to CaterGraphix tutorial. So people have been complaining several times to me that when they export files, it looks cool in their gallery, but pushing it to Instagram, it looks very awkward and loosed. So today we are going to fix that problem by learning how to create documents in Illustrator, learning how to size in issues and fixes, and also learning how to export these files in different variants. So without wasting much of our time, let's get right into it. So first thing we have to do today is creating a document in Illustrator. This tutorial also works for beginners too. I'll put it in my beginners playlist in YouTube. And by the way, to remind you, we have all categorized YouTube tutorials in their different playlists. Okay, so you go to playlist, you're gonna find. I probably could show you that at the end of this tutorial, but let's just finish what we are doing. So like I was saying, by the way, this is also the procedure or processes through which I prepare my works. So I want to make it a work like so. I just have to identify all detail or all icons or all subjects related to that, so that through this I can also understand what kind of concepts I'm going to use. And as you can see, butterfly is here. We used butterfly in the previous one, and in this second concept we made the stars are here inside it. Crown, we didn't include crown here. Then dots, so I wanted including a crown probably at the top of this queue if opportunity calls, but there wasn't any opportunity like so I have to forfeit that. So let's get right into what we are here for today. So to create a new document for beginners, click on Control in your keyboard or Command on Mac. Control, then click on N. So Control N opens a new document format. So now here is where the problem starts from. What document format you create and how you export it is what matters most. Okay, so now we are going to create this document format customly made. Okay, customly made, just click on this, then you can type in your digits. Okay, type in the amount of size you want, then you can click on create. Okay, this is just a format we use in creating documents. So now let me show you something and the difference and what you need to understand about these files and the tricks around them. So when you create a document of 1000 times 1000 pixels, let's try to create a text. You see how small it is? I'm going to type in CaterGraphix. Okay, we are going to leave this like so. We are not going to increase anything. Create a new document here, and we are going to make this 200 times 200. So we create this document. Now what we are going to do is practically we are going to move this file from here to the same file, the same size. Now look at what we have here. Okay, the same file, the same size, the same size of font, 12 pt of font size, and here also is still 12 pt of font size, as you can see. But the difference is the size of the document we are working with. Okay, so here is where the problem lies. Most of you just click on Control N and you click on create. No, or you just select one of these. Probably you go to print and select A5 or A4, whatever you want to print, and you click on proceed. No, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. If you see this document file, let's use A4. A4 is rendering at 59595 times 841 width. Let's create and import this file there. Let's see the size this file is going to render. Okay, we can't do that here. Let's close one of these. Let's try closing one of this design did here. Gotish behavior. So now let me show you. We importing the same file to this A4. You see the size? You see the size now? You see the size with this same one? Almost the same thing, but different from this one we created beneath. You see? So now what I advise you creating with is this size or this size or this size, I will advise you to create with all. Why? Because there are conditions to this. I will show you what that conditions mean. Okay, what the condition means to me and what it means to you. Now, if we are trying to export this file, it's simple to do. Just click on this artboard or click on your window. You locate the artboard, asset export. When it opens, drag this into this place. We see it as one file. If it is multiple files, for instance, we have multiple files, like multiple vector files. If it's multiple vector files, you select everything, then you drag it in here. It will split in different assets. Okay, to join everything together, we are exporting it not as different formats. We are exporting it everything together. What you're going to do, you click on this little icon here, generate single assets. It all becomes one. Now we can export it as either PNG or JPG or whatever. I will talk about this later. If I get into this, it's going to take a lot of our time. But what I want to tell you today, what I want to teach you today is this. When exporting files you created on a very low resolution, what I mean by low resolution is when you are creating with like 200 times 200. This is a very low resolution, and that's exactly what we use there. When you're exporting files of such, do not read my lips. Do not export it as designed. What I mean is this: do not export this file just like this and assemble it as one, then click on export, and that is it. You click save on desktop, you save in the folder. Do not do so. Okay? Do not do so. Let's see the file size of what we just exported, and let's see the problems we could face. This is 5 kilobytes. 5 kilobytes. Let's click, and I don't know if this will show. Okay, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in to see. You see the problem we are facing now. You see the problem now. This is a vector file exported, but look at the problem we are facing. We are having bad rendering, and this is a loose file, and we are having all these shades of white around the black text. We didn't add any stroke. We didn't add any border radius. We didn't add any shadow, but we are having this effect, and this is very bad. If you are exporting this as a logo to your client, it is a very, very bad remark you are giving to yourself. So let's see how we solve this problem. You see, from afar, if you send this to your gallery, it will maintain the same quality. This is the problem people are facing. You send files like this to your gallery, it will maintain the same because your gallery in this size won't notice it. Can you notice what you see what I'm talking about? Your gallery, your phone, your device is a small device resolution. When I exported to what is it called? When I exported to Instagram or Facebook, Instagram and Facebook doesn't see it as a gallery or mobile phone size. It sees it as though the person is watching also on a higher resolution device like a PC, a monitor, or so on and so forth. So that's why it will render it as it is on a higher resolution. And if it doesn't meet up the requirement on a higher resolution, you get this on Instagram. So that's the problem you are facing. But on your gallery, you get this. You don't see any white angles. So that's the problem you are facing. So this is how you solve the problem. Remember, this tutorial is only for Illustrator. I will also come into Photoshop and also teach you what problem you are going to face there as so. That will be in the next tutorial. So now, if you want to export this file, still in the same poor resolution, 200 times 200 pixels like we created on the artboard, what you are going to do is you could zoom afar by holding your Control- key. Now, what you're going to do is hold your Shift key and expand this. Okay, remember, we are done with the design. We don't need to be around the artboard anymore. Expand this to whatever size you want, as big as you want it to be. Okay, let's say this is okay for me. Okay, what next you're going to do, we push it to the asset export. Push it to asset export, and we assemble everything together. One more trick you would like to learn here is you need to go to scaling, click on this, and make it ×4 scaling. Okay, do not, some people will leave their own as ×2 scaling. Leave it, make sure it is at ×4 scaling. Okay, when you are done with that, sorry. So make it ×4 scaling. When you are done with that, I should supposed to hold. So when you are done with that, what you're going to do next is export it. So let's see this same file we created in the same resolution, but scaling this file a little bit higher and also scaling it in export, how it's going to look. So we bring this out, we double click to open. Now let's zoom in to see the problem solved. You see, even without zooming in, the file is on a high resolution. So let's open the other one. Okay, let me be on a fair ground. Let it not be that I'm making things on a different resolution, on a different scaling. I mean, let's delete this altogether. We are going to export this file still at scaling 3. Okay, scaling times 3. I only show you the trick of times 4 because I want you to come out on a very, very high resolution. Okay, but let's leave it as times 3, only expanding this inside of the same artboard. So let's export it so that we'll be on a fair ground. Okay, let's be on a fair ground, so you'll not be like we are cheating. So we have the two files inside here. We have the first one, which is scaled within the resolution of the artboard we created, and the second one, which is scaled outside of it. So this one we have the size of 516 kilobyte, but this we have 73.9 kilobyte. You see, it's not the same thing. So, but it's the same artboard, but we expanded it a little. So you see the size, you see what we are getting here, but look at what we get in this other one. See the two difference. On the first opening, we get this. On the first opening, we get this. Now we zoom with this and see if we have any issue. Before you have issue, it gets to an extent. Okay, but maintaining the resolution we have here, we have a good quality. Okay, we have a good quality at this resolution. Okay, in every design, in every asset, there is a resolution you get to, you start losing. That is normal. Okay, but we want to forfeit this. That's where the trick of expanding this to 4 comes in, and expanding this further if possible, or if you wish, comes in too. So now we export this file again. So we assemble everything as one and we export as times 4 now. That's where the second trick comes in. So now we are opening this file as 312 kilobytes. You see it? So now let's zoom closely and see in the same artboard. You see where the white shadow starts showing? Very, very far. Very, very far. Okay? So our zooming still maintains the quality, and this is just what we need. Okay? This is just what we need. Before the client starts zooming to that extent, I don't think it's today. But this, just by zooming in a little, you start noticing it. And this is very bad. Like, let's zoom very closely and see. Let's zoom this other one very closely. I'm taking my time to show you this is the highest we can go. As you can see, this is the highest we can go. But even at that, the first instance of this is higher resolution than this one, which is the highest we can go. Now, the highest we can go here still is super cool, more than this other one. You see it? It doesn't lose like this. It doesn't lose like this. See the points? We still have it very clean. You see it? The points here, the edges are still very clean, as we can see. But this is very loose over here. Very loose. So that is it. That's the trick on Illustrator. And that's how to fix that problem in Illustrator. So why I choose we use this size is because on the first click with your text tool, you don't need to start expanding. The text tool, you can start writing and making your designs, I mean your logo designs, okay? Without expanding, you know, in this other one, when you click, you start expanding it again, and that's time wasting. Just do it like so and do your thing. So, but if you create on this platform, you don't need to start expanding it unless you just want to expand it, like what we have here. We created this on a very high resolution. So even if we want to get a very high export resolution, we expand it like so. Now we export as 4 times 4. We export, and let's see what we have here. So we're gonna open it. On the first instance, it's on a very high resolution. On the first instance. So now we zoom closely to see what we have. You see it? We still have the image on a high resolution. Okay, even when zoomed to the last, this is the last it can take. When an image is zoomed to the last, it is proportional that you see the loose aspect of it. But when you see the loose aspect of it, when you just zoom probably half of it or at the beginning, it is very bad. Okay, so that is it, and that's how to solve the problem. When you export this file to Photoshop, before you export to Photoshop, make sure your resolution is at, okay, let me teach you how to do that at once. Let me teach you how to export these files. Control Z, okay, how to export these files as different formats. We have learned how to export it as PNG or JPG, which you can do from here, but let's learn to export this file as a reusable document like AI, which you can import again and use it again. So we click on Control Alternative S, or you click on File above here, you click on Save As. Save as, you name it whatever you want to name it. Then you can save it as AI or PDF, or you can save it as EPS. You can save it as SVG. SVG is for internet. You want to use it as internet files. Or, so let's go, for the benefit of this, let's go with PDF. PDF, we click on desktop and we save it. Make sure you tick optimize for web view, so that even on mobile view, if it's a large resolution, it can just show up without wasting time to show the real resolution. I don't know how to explain that, but when you export a very high resolution to a mobile phone that can't contain it, it takes time for you to, you know, rasterize, or for you to get used to that kind of resolution too. But if you optimize it, it's automatically optimized and it gets used to that. So we save as export as a PDF. So we go out to see the PDF file we exported. Now in PDF files, it doesn't get loosed. The more you zoom, the more quality it is. Okay? The more you zoom, the more quality you have. It doesn't get loosed no matter what. Remember, what we get loosed at is PNG file. Okay? So that's how to export as PNG. The same thing you do to export as AI. Okay? AI file. The PNG file, you can still use it again. It's reusable. But double clicking on it, it doesn't get reused. Just drag it into AI and drop it above here. Automatically you see it again. Okay, so to export a reusable AI, click the same thing, then save as whatever you want to save it as, and click on Illustrator. Now we save it, and nothing to do here, just click on OK. So it saves as Illustrator outside here. To open it again, double click and it opens in your AI file just as it is. So that is how to export it. Now let's go finally how to export as you want to use this image as a mockup, or you want to use it as an image you want to export in I usually talk about Photoshop and Illustrator when I want to talk about Facebook and Instagram. So we want to export it as Instagram file. You click on here, click on Control New on Photoshop. I'll teach the tutorial on this tomorrow. Make sure the width is set to 2000 and height is set to 2000 and the resolution is set to 300. Then you create your file. This is the best practice, okay? Do not do anything less than that. You're gonna still get the loose file even if you export this as the higher resolution as I taught you in the previous one. So just select everything, drag it into this other one, and it's gonna be like so. So you can reduce the size to whatever you want. When we export this file, you're not gonna get anything loosed. Okay? You're not gonna get anything loosed. You can also export it as PNG. Now, do not export your files to your clients as PNG from Illustrator. In most applications, it doesn't support it. Illustrator doesn't support it. It gives it background. So to give a PNG that works on all devices and all formats and all softwares, make sure you export it first to Photoshop with 200 x 200 resolution and 300 EPS file. Then you click on this to remove the background. Then now you are gonna remove these backgrounds here. So click on this, click on the, so you click on this and now you can start removing the background. So I remove this background. I'll remove this background because if you don't remove those backgrounds, if they convert this image as a single color, let me take for instance, we convert it as black, you are going to get those shapes are going to get lost, and it will be difficult for you to recognize this design. So that is why if we remove the effect, we have to remove all these dots. You have to use that tool to remove all these dots. The tool you use is the magic eraser tool. Just click on it and click above it to tell you want to rasterize, say yes. So now when we click on the effect, we still have all our effects. And that is how these mockups are achieved. Where is that mockup? That is how these mockups are achieved. So you see these mockups, you still see the inside of it. You can still see the dots inside of it and stuff like that. So that is it on our tutorial today. So I hope this solves your problem on exporting files, how to create document files, the issues you have with resolutions, and also how to export these files in different file formats, and also which format or size to use for Photoshop again, for Instagram and Facebook. Okay, once again, this is Manuel signing out from CaterGraphix. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a like, make sure you comment, share it, and remain blessed. God bless you.